Tonight on True Terror Files Official, we traveled deep into the Oregon backcountry to investigate a phenomenon locals call the whispering. Trees. These are not casual campfire legends, but structured accounts from trained timber professionals who abandon profitable contracts after sunset encounters. What would make experienced deep woods cruisers refuse to enter million-dollar timber zones without armed escort? What could cause an entire section of forest to fall silent before something begins whispering your name? Our investigation centers around three primary witnesses who agreed to share their documented experiences. The first is Daniel Mercer, a veteran timber cruiser with 15 years surveying dense hemlock groves. Daniel's job required him to measure trunk diameter, assess timber value, and navigate isolated Oregon sectors without hesitation. He described the forest in this region as unusually dense, with ancient hemlocks rising like pillars in a cathedral of shadow. On his final late-season survey, Daniel felt a vibration through the soles of his boots before hearing anything audible. The sensation was rhythmic, low, and strangely organic beneath the forest floor. Within seconds, bird calls stopped mid-pattern, leaving an oppressive vacuum of sound. Even wind through the canopy seemed to pause as if muted. Daniel placed his gloved hand against a nearby trunk to steady himself. He reported feeling a faint pulsing beneath the bark, consistent and deliberate. It resembled the slow expansion and contraction of a breathing ribcage. Stepped back immediately, assuming stress-induced misinterpretation. Then he heard it clearly for the first time, a guttural vibration rising from the tree line, not from air, but from wood. The sound modulated in subtle patterns resembling syllables. Daniel swears he heard his first name carried within that vibration. He documented the event using a handheld audio recorder before exiting the sector. The recording captured rhythmic pulses at intervals similar to human respiration. Our second witness, Emily Lawson, is an acoustic field technician specializing in environmental sound mapping. Emily analyzed Daniel's raw recording using frequency isolation software. She confirmed the source of the vibration originated from multiple vertical points rather than open air. The pulses aligned across several trees in synchronized timing. This synchronization suggested coordination rather than random environmental noise. Emily joined Daniel on a controlled daytime return to the coordinates. During daylight hours, the forest appeared ordinary and calm. No unusual vibrations registered on portable equipment. They waited until dusk to test whether light conditions affected the phenomenon. Sunlight faded. Insect noise diminished faster than expected for that temperature range. A low-frequency hum returned, detectable through Emily's ground sensor array. She placed contact microphones directly against 3 separate hemlock trunks. The playback revealed pulsing vibrations traveling internally through the wood fibers. Emily described the pattern as structured rather than chaotic. The frequency shifted upward briefly before dropping into a tone resembling whispered phonemes. Daniel's name appeared again within the layered modulation. Emily immediately removed her equipment and signaled withdrawal. Both reported a physical sensation of pressure building in their ears during the peak vibration. Our third witness is Michael Grant, a former search and rescue coordinator familiar with wilderness mimicry reports. Michael had responded to multiple missing hiker calls within the same Oregon sector. During one late-night search, he heard a distressed voice calling from deeper timber. The voice matched a missing hiker's tone recorded earlier that day. Believing someone survived, Michael advanced cautiously with his team. The voice shifted direction without corresponding movement through brush. It echoed from multiple positions simultaneously. Then the forest floor began vibrating beneath their boots. Team radios emitted static layered with faint whispering beneath transmission attempts. Michael ordered a halt when the vibrations intensified near clustered hemlocks. One volunteer reached out to brace against a trunk for balance. He recoiled instantly, reporting the bark felt warm and subtly flexible. The surface appeared to shift slightly under flashlight beam. Patterns within the bark seemed to reorganize into shapes resembling facial contours. The volunteer withdrew, shaken but physically unharmed. The team retreated without further pursuit of the disembodied voice. Subsequent daylight searches found no footprints, disturbances, or wildlife remains. Interestingly, wildlife cameras placed in the area malfunctioned simultaneously during night hours. Memory storage devices returned, corrupted files filled with low-frequency interference. Emily later layered these corrupted files with Daniel's original recording. The frequencies aligned in repeating intervals across different nights. This repetition suggested intentional modulation rather than coincidence. What natural process coordinates vibrations across multiple trees simultaneously? Why does the phenomenon intensify after sunset and dissipate in daylight? Could root systems beneath the forest floor transmit structured resonance like biological wiring? Or does something inhabit the timber using wood as a conductive medium? Daniel insists the vibration carried awareness of human presence. Emily believes the modulation adapts depending on proximity and identity. Michael remains convinced the mimicry was designed to lure rescuers deeper into isolation. The three accounts overlap in specific sensory markers: complete wildlife silence preceding vibration onset, rhythmic pulses resembling respiration patterns, whispered phonemes embedded within wooden resonance, temporary electronic interference during peak acoustic activity. None of the witnesses reported visual creatures or traditional predators. Instead, they described the forest itself behaving as a coordinated organism. The hemlocks stand ancient, interconnected beneath soil through vast root networks. Modern forestry reports quietly list sections of this region as restricted access zones. Official explanations cite unstable ground and environmental preservation concerns. Yet local timber cruisers maintain an unspoken rule about dusk entry. If the trees begin whispering, you leave immediately without looking back. What if intelligence in nature operates slower, deeper, and less visibly than animal movement? What if something beneath the canopy studies human patterns the way we study wildlife? The absence of animal remains in the area raises unsettling questions. No carcasses, no scattered bones, and no predator traces appear in these sectors. Equipment left overnight has occasionally been found partially embedded in hardened sap. Tools appear fused as though absorbed over extended exposure. Could the vibrations serve as a method of immobilization before assimilation? Or is the forest defending itself using mechanisms we barely comprehend? The deeper we map ecosystems, the more complexity reveals itself. Ancient root systems can span miles beneath our awareness. Perhaps the whispering trees represent an undiscovered form of environmental communication. Or perhaps they represent something more deliberate and predatory. Here at True Terror Files Official, we present documented encounters without exaggeration. We allow you to evaluate the evidence and draw your own conclusions. If stories like this fascinate you, consider subscribing to support deeper investigations into the unexplained. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next field analysis. Share your theory below. Natural resonance, unknown species, or intelligent ecosystem defense. Would you stand alone in a hemlock grove after hearing your name whispered from the bark? Until next time, stay observant, stay grounded, and remember that sometimes the forest is listening too.